The Oklahoma Sooners' move to the SEC proves to be more and more beneficial to you, the fans. We've got to talk about that because they just dropped some scheduled times for some of the early games. It's going to get y'all excited. Plus, Brent Venables talked to George Stoya over at Sooner Scoops for part of On 3, and he dropped an update on a player y'all been asking about. We talked about it on Locked On Sooners, but I want to expand on my excitement about Jaden Gibson. Let's dive into all of that. Before we do that, welcome to Unfair Sports. I'm your host, Jay. Thank y'all for pulling up to the channel. All right, let's lead off with this. The SEC in Oklahoma has begun the announcement of times for games. The first round of them have shown up. The next ones will show up around June 11th. I think that's what Oklahoma tweeted out. You'll be able to see the windows that the games will be for the rest of the season. But we've got games on 4 more important ones that y'all really care about. You've got the Illinois State game, Michigan game, Temple, and then Red River against Texas. All of those times are pretty exciting, and they actually show why Oklahoma moving to the SEC was a smart move. Now, granted, we've got all of this stuff around the media right now with the SEC and the NCAA potentially having a breakup and all that jazz or whatnot. Well, to me, we all know that if there's anything that the SEC is going to do what they need to do to take care of their teams. And this is why Oklahoma goes there. Let's look at these times real quick and talk about it. First and foremost, the thing that jumped out to me the most is, out of these 4 games, which I'm expecting Kent State to be similar, only one of them is at 11 o'clock in the morning. I know, right? That's the one thing that most of y'all complain about. Too many 11 o'clock games. That's a big thing with Fox. Their big noon kickoff. As y'all know, Texas gets to play Ohio State at noon Eastern, unfortunately. They don't get to play under the lights, under the beauty. Well, Oklahoma's moving to the SEC, gets you all some later games that to me is a lot more beneficial. So, for example, Illinois State, 5 p.m. Central Time. I like that. It's on ESPN Plus and ACC Network, whatever. Don't really care about the televised portion of that component, mainly because we didn't expect that. That's literally like a warm-up game. And we know Illinois State, they're all right. So you're going to expect that. That Michigan one, though, 6:30 on ABC. Of course, we're going to be one of the primetime games. Of course. It's Oklahoma versus Michigan, baby. What'd you expect? That's pretty exciting in itself, just to see that Oklahoma's getting that one. The Temple game is your 11 o'clock game, and that's on ESPN2 because Oklahoma is on the road. If this game was in Norman, I bet you it's like 5 o'clock again. Because we had that with Temple here, Houston, right? And then you had the Friday night game, which a lot of people did not like, but I had no issue with early in the season. This works out perfectly, in my personal opinion. Look at that. And then Red River's going right back to 2:30. Now, I have mixed feelings about Red River at that time. I had mixed feelings about Red River at that time, mainly because getting out of the State Fair of Texas at like 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock is really, really much a pain in the butt. And around 2:30, it gets a little warm. But this does allow for good tailgating, allows for you to go hang out at the fair if you want to, and then you can, figure out the next thing you want to do after that. But people are going to be able to get out there, get twisted, have a good time, enjoy the environment, enjoy the atmosphere, and they don't have to rush to be out there like early in the morning, in which getting to that game early in the morning is really hard. Now, 2:30 is really not that big of a difference as far as how hard it is to get there or get out, but I'm indifferent. I don't mind either one of them. But when I look at that and then I look at the rest of Oklahoma's schedule, I think the thing that jumps to me is, like I said, the Temple game. I expect that to be a late game, mainly because it's a non-con that's, it's Kent State. No shade to them, while at the same time shade to them. But the rest of the games of the season, I don't think you'll see very many like 11 o'clock games. The SEC has shown that they value the brand that is Oklahoma and having them in later games as possible because they know people are going to tune in. Eyeballs tune into Oklahoma games. You hate them or you love them, you're going to watch them. But that Michigan game being on primetime, we knew that was going to happen. I mean, You've got, it would have been nice if Texas Ohio State was, because that'd been a great way to end that evening for, Labor Day weekend. But you can start it with that, I guess. You can start your drinking early if you really want to do that, or partying, or whatever you want to do, or just, turn it on. Now, those on the West Coast feel bad for y'all. That's a 9 o'clock in the morning thing. I was waking up at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock to get some big noon going or some game day. But at the same time, you get to enjoy all of that. Let me know what y'all think on that schedule. Hop in the comments. Want to hear your thoughts. I do expect every game after Texas to be mid to late. Maybe one more 11 o'clock game, because we don't really have it's all SEC play after Texas. So if Kent State does end up at 5, I do expect the rest of the schedule to be mid to late day, because I expect Oklahoma to command some attention. Just a hunch. Besides that, real quick update that me and John talked about this over on Locked On Sooners. If you didn't check it out, feel free to go subscribe, like, and all of that jazz over there. Hit the bell notification so you don't miss any of those videos. But we talked about Brent Venables is in Destin, Florida, where they're having all the SEC meetings. And you're hearing about like the scheduling stuff, the 9 scheduled things, blah, blah, blah. Well, George Stoya of Sooner Scoop caught up with BV, was able to ask him some, general questions around the roster. They talked about why Oklahoma really didn't go after DB in the portal, and the big answer to that is that they trust that Gentry and Jacoby are going to develop and be ready to play. Gentry more so playing, Jacoby more so developing. They trust and they like their guys. I've told y'all this numerous times. This staff likes the guys they recruited. And to me, that's a testament to why the defense was so solid. And that, to me, adds better stability. You do use the portal to, fill little gaps, add an additional playmaker if you can, maybe here or there. But you don't try to build your entire roster off of it. We've seen others try that. I mean, Ole Miss lived in the portal, and they, had a solid season. If that's consistently what they'll get, sure, I guess fans would be okay. But I think for the most part, their fans are pretty pissed that they did not make a playoff. Oklahoma's going to continue to develop internally, and we're now seeing we're at now the veteran side. This year is the year Brent Venables is going to have to show us something for real. The defense showed us something, but the offense got to come up too. We are in veteran status with the offensive line, wide receiver room. We're getting more veterans, DBs, defensive lines. Everything is more veteran. We've got a couple of years on a lot of these players. We need to get that. But the update that he did provide that got me excited was he talked about Giovanni and Jaden Gibson, both the Gibson boys. Not related, but he talked about the boys and talked about their injury status. We hadn't heard anything about Jaden Gibson in a while. And so there was questions and concerns and wondering if, what's going on there. There was rumors of him getting the portal. There was all kinds of stuff on social media, but nobody had anything concrete that they could truly report. Well, Stoya talked to him, and BV said that the expectation is both of them back 100% at the beginning of the season. That could be Illinois State. That could be Michigan. But the fact that he says that he expects them to be healthy and 100%, not like, 80% and kind of ready. No, he's expecting them to be ready to go 100% is huge and exciting. So if Jaden Gibson and him can show up at training camp healthy and feeling good and looking good, man, look, it's going to be fun to see the battles in those rooms. And we'll break that down here this summer, probably closer to July. After SEC Media Days, we'll go through each, position right before fall camp. Actually, we'll probably do all of this at fall camp time. That way we have a better understanding of who's around and all of that. So expect that early August we'll really break down the rosters and the players. But the wide receiver battle is going to be fun. If you got both the Gibsons, you've got Zion Kearney, who I think is going to have a step-up season after, being thrown in the fire last year. You still, of course, got Deion Burks and Isaiah Satania, who are going to be fantastic in your slots. They may even play a little bit on the outside. They're going to be really good. Love the Jermichael Carter pickup. He's a good development piece that could end up being something bigger than that. You still got the young players out there. I mean, you still got Josiah Martin, who you got in the portal as well. Keontez Lewis, who I think can step up and step out. His cousin is C.J. Colden, who was a corner that came from Wyoming. And we all loved Colden, and we hoped he would have came back. Good thing is, we can see some stuff out of there. Hopefully, Keontez Lewis can show up and show out, but he's got the size. So we'll have a listing. Of course, I'll have the whole roster up for y'all to talk through. So let me know what y'all think. Hop in the comments. I want to hear all of your thoughts. All right, glad I dropped this late video. Scrolling into next. We got an interview coming up this weekend. I'm going to post on Saturday for you all. Coop got to talk to one of our young defensive linemen. Not going to spoil it for you all, so make sure you check it out. But I'm excited about the way this schedule is laid out. Again, that schedule that we have is fantastic to me, and it shows a testament that the SEC really values the brand that is Oklahoma by getting them some really good late slots. Like I said, we couldn't control the Temple one because we're on the road. That just is what it is based upon their TV deal. But because most of all these home games and then the rivalry game are going to be all, of course, not only nationally televised, but also in later slots, SEC loves your boys. We'll chop it up soon. I'll have another video coming up, and we'll get back on track, especially here in June. We'll really get going. Visit weekends are next weekend, and man, huge ones. We'll chop it up soon.